Hi, I'm Dr. Otto Janke, and welcome to this edition of the Empire Longevity Podcast. We are back doing the Empire Longevity Podcast. We took some time off because that's what life does. Simple as that. That's what life does. We're back doing it. I've had a number of people reach out to me and said, we actually like the Empire Longevity Podcast, and how about you bringing it back? I've had a number of people ask me that, so I am doing that. You're going to see me much for the good or bad as it might be. You're going to see a whole bunch more of me. We started a Substack, Otto Janke. You can find me on there. I write a lot. I like to write. It's very easy for me. I think I write differently than I speak. Is that normal? Is that typical? Do people do that? I use words. I think I use words when I'm writing that I don't necessarily do when I'm speaking. I think I write smarter. I think I do. I like writing. It takes me much longer to write, of course, but I like writing. I don't know if I'm necessarily good at it. When I wrote my first book, You Were Born to Be Healthy, found on Amazon. This is not, this is kind of odd. It's not a real book. I mean, it's a book, of course. I mean, it's real, but um, it's odd because it has that big side to it, and so I've had to keep that out. I can't give that one away because it's odd. But I feel first of all, I feel I have another book inside me. I think 27 is going to be my next book. I already have a title for it, but my first book, My Dear Lord, when I sent it into my editor to be edited, it came back like it was a gangland slaying on there because the red, nope, 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 it was all over. It's like as if I'd never taken an English or a writing course ever in my life. So we're back doing the Empire Longevity Podcast. You're going to be seeing me doing this on a regular basis, and I look forward to doing it because I think longevity has really been, well, I think it's really been screwed up, to tell you the truth. Yeah, I think it's been screwed up because of this. We've gotten so far away. We have gotten so far away from just the absolute fundamentals of what it is to be healthy for decades to come. We've tried to make it so difficult to do. And one of the three questions that I'm going to answer today, because we have three questions that I get asked us on a regular basis, either questions or statements that are made to me. I'm going to answer those today, but we make health and longevity so difficult. It is incredible. It's incredible. There are actually fundamentals to them, fundamentals to it. And we have gotten away from it because of advertising and marketing, really, quite honestly. I'm playing with this right here. This is my background. I love this. I love this picture. It's called Boy of the Jetpack. I often feel like I am a boy of the jetpack when it comes to my practice, doing speaking. I speak a lot, and I spoke in Scotland a couple months ago, and I'll be speaking in Europe more coming up. I enjoy speaking. I enjoy grasping audiences and having them come along with a ride with me when I speak. Short side note for you. I tell this story often, but I was speaking one time and I thought it was a really good talk by me. I know when I've done a good talk. I know when I've done a not great talk. Sometimes you connect with audiences, sometimes you don't. Sometimes the message doesn't get through, or the energy levels of it's a whole bunch of things that go into it. I get done with the talk, and I thought it was a good talk. I get done with the talk, and a woman comes up to me, and she says, she's standing there like this. She says, she's kind of looking me up and down once or twice, and looking like deep into me. And she's got her finger on her lips, and she's looking at me. She's nodding her head up and down, And she says, I said, "Hey, how are you? Good to see you." Her name was, Jan or something. And she goes, and she pauses. She says, you you are a fascinating speaker. And I said, why, thank you. I said, why do you say that? And she says, you have a fascinating way of taking sometimes very different aspects or ideas. And sometimes they're very difficult to understand, sometimes they're not. But you have a very fascinating way of taking all these things that are not connected and you bring them all together into one story, into one idea. She goes, that's absolutely fascinating. I said, well, thank you. I work on that, and I'm glad you saw that. She goes, yeah, it's absolutely fascinating. I said, do you know what one word you haven't used to describe my talk? She says, what's that? I said, good. And she just looks at me and she says, it's because it's fascinating. Okay. Thank you very much, Jan. Okay, three questions that I get often, three questions or comments I get often. Number one is this: isn't longevity just mostly genetic? It's out of my hands. There's really nothing I can do. The cards I have are the cards I have. And the path I'm going down is the path I'm going down, and I can't do anything about that. And absolutely wrong. Absolutely wrong. Absolutely wrong. Here's the scariest thing about genetics and longevity. I have some good news for you and some bad news. The latest research comes out says that you are genetically, the genes you have, the program you have right now, it used to be about 70 to 80% was not genetic. So 20 to 30% of your lifestyle, excuse me, not your lifestyle, but your longevity potential was about 20, 30% genetically. Genetically, the cards you had saying this is what's going to happen was about 20 to 30%. Now they're looking at about 40% is genetic. So that alone, that is terrifying and it is absolutely powerful for you. Why? Because your longevity, and here's your big words for today, your longevity is your fault. Oh, and I know you're thinking to yourself, um, I I don't like that. I don't like that whatsoever. Your longevity is your fault. That means if 60 to 70% of your health potential is what you do, how you move, what you eat, how you think, my dear Lord, that's powerful. That is powerful. That means you have an opportunity, no matter where you are, to right the ship and get it going down that way. Awesome. That is absolutely awesome. So when I get people saying, well, it's just genetic and, my family did this, my family. So I will tell you that I had some life insurance. I had to go through a physical for life insurance. And they asked me, what did your parents die of and what age? So as of this recording right now, I'm 63 years old. My mother died when she was like 77. My dad died when he was like 75 or 77, right around there. So right now I'm looking at, another decade. You start going, holy shit, another decade? What did they die of? Well, my mom died of idiopathic pulmonary fibrosis. Idiopathic, we don't know why. That's what that word means. We don't know why. Idiopathic pulmonary lung fibrosis, scar tissue. The inside of her lungs turned to scar tissue. and it's about a 2-year diagnosis window and 100% mortality. And you watch someone slowly suffocate. It fucking sucks, man. It sucks. But that's what she died of. My dad died of um, the results of smoking for decades. He had a big tumor in his left lung, emphysema. Looked like someone had shot his left lung with birdshot. Big tumor hanging out inside there. That that killed him. I had a brother who had tongue cancer. He had passing of that. And I've had spots on top of my head frozen. I had another brother who had spots on top of his head frozen. And so they look at me and say, well, you have a family history of cancer. Whoa, 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 whoa. My father smoked for decades. I don't at all. They said, well, you have a family history. No, no, wait a minute. No, we don't. That was his history. And my mom's, I mean, we don't know. My one brother who had the tongue cancer, his lifestyle, my point, his lifestyle was his biggest detriment. I do all this stuff. I don't do all this stuff, of course, but I do a lot of the stuff you should do. And we'll talk about this many, many times on this podcast, but I do a lot of the stuff you should do. I write the books on it. I literally wrote a book on it. My next one's going to be even better. So here's the cool stuff about it. Here's the cool stuff and the scary stuff about your longevity. It's it's under it's in your power. And some people don't want that. I mean, let's be honest. Some people don't want that responsibility. I get it. I totally get that. But your longevity, mathematically speaking, scientifically speaking, is your responsibility. The tests have been, I mean, the research has been done out there. It's been updated. Used to be 20%, about approximately 20% was genetic. Now they're looking right around 40% is genetic. Still, that means over half of it is your responsibility. Do I have that book here with me? I don't have the book with me. But you look at the book by Caldwell Esselstyn Jr. Do I have it over there? Caldwell Esselstyn Jr. And it is how to prevent and reverse heart disease. How to prevent and reverse heart disease. So you look at people who have a family history of this stuff, and you can prevent and reverse it. If you look at the work that's done by Dean Ornish, Ornish, Dean Ornish, he's taken people who were biopsied with prostate cancer, other people who had cardiovascular disease, and his last one was the big bamboo, which was Alzheimer's, and he put him through a program. Look the stuff up. Look it up. People who had diagnosed conditions, which we see as the top three scariest stuff in America: cancers, cardiovascular, Alzheimer's, dementias. And he reversed them. Go read the studies. You have a set of playing cards you've been given. Absolutely no doubt about it. You have a set of playing cards called genes that you have been given. How you going to play them? That's my question for you. How you going to play them? Here's the cool thing. You can play them great. You can screw it up tremendously. Let's be realistic. In America, the opportunity to do that has gone up greatly. But you can play them great. We'll talk about doing that here on the Empire Longevity Podcast. We'll talk about that many, many, many times. Some of the guests we'll have on, we'll talk about it many, many times. I know people don't want that, I don't know, burden. They don't want that responsibility. What I do is what I do. I had an aunt one time who smoked and drank every day since she was 4 months old until she died at 98. And she smoked and drank every day. For every one of those people, And I hear those stories often. For every one of those people, I'll show you a graveyard, rows of grave in a graveyard of people who their story ain't that. Number one, isn't longevity mostly genetic? The answer is no. No, it's not. Number two, what are the real levers for longevity? That means what are those things that really can push your longevity? And I get asked about a lot of supplements. I get asked about a lot of supplements, about NMN, about rapamycin, red light therapies, cold plunges, all this stuff. The first thing about supplements is in the word itself, supplements, is they are supplemental. Supplements are supplemental. Supplements are things you add on to an already well-functioning system. In America, since we are inundated with advertising that goes along with supplements, I don't know, billion-dollar industry, trillion-dollar industry, I don't even know, but a lot of people buy a lot of supplements. Join the club. I've minimized, I've focused that like, no, it's going to be this and this and that. That's it. Because you can be inundated because I see it all the time. Oh yeah, he takes this. This guy recommends this. First of all, do you need it? It's good for you. Do you need it? Have you been tested? No, I haven't been tested about any of that stuff. So here is there's a lot of stuff about biohacks. I gotta tell you, humans, is that if I have to hear the word biohack or a hack to the system, I might put my head through a window. There are no hacks to true health and longevity. There are no hacks. There are no side doors. There are no easy steps. There are steps, consistent. But there are no hacks to your longevity. Hate to tell you, hate to be I know you want to go spend money on a biohack somewhere. I know you want to, but I think you have to do the fundamentals and then you add the hacks onto that. You do the fundamentals, you add the supplements onto that. So for me, what are the fundamentals? Absolutely the critical things we need to do. Number one, mental rest and focus. How do we do that? Well, there are a number of ways. One, prayer. You say, I'm not religious. I'm not asking you to be religious. I'm asking, do you pray? Do you take time to show gratitude, to thank Mother Nature, God, whoever it is, for you to be here and the loves that you have, the jobs that you have, different things? Number one is prayer. These things have been shown. Number one is prayer. Number two is meditation. Do you meditate? Do you take your mind, do you take your mind out of gear for a while? It's not hard to do. By the way, both of those cost nothing to do. If you have a phone, you can find apps all the time, which are go on Spotify and find meditations. Number three is walks in nature, you getting closer to nature. I live in upstate New York and we have forests all around me, and the Finger Lakes. It's beautiful here. And going for walks in nature all the time. It lowers your blood pressure. Your body goes, oh, thank you. Walks in nature. Four is instrumental music like jazz or classical. Stuff that takes your brain out of gear for a while. That's number one. That's number one thing. And can you have fun doing that? Absolutely. You don't have to make it so serious and unfun. But number one is mental rest and focus. Number two is motion. These aren't in specific orders until the last one. Motion. You got to get up and do stuff. I did a TEDx talk a couple of years ago, and I showed a study in which 25% of adults in America just don't move at all. 25% of Americans don't move at all. We cannot think. We can't help but think the downstream effects of that. Because you and I have to pay for their insurance. If you're in a consortium like Excel's Blue Cross Blue Shield, and I am in upstate New York, we have to pay for those people who don't exercise. Get up and get going. Motion is medicine. 75% of school age children don't meet the requirements for phys ed. Excuse me. Let me step back from that. They meet the requirements for phys ed, but don't meet the requirements, the federal guidelines for exercise. Meaning, in upstate New York, where I'm at, I'm not downplaying what they do, but we have set the children up. We've set up generations of kids not to do this correctly. They're in school on walk this through with me. They're on a 6-day school plan while they go to school 5 days a week. So if you're on the first week of school, you're in day one, two, three, four, five. The next week, Monday, doesn't start with number one again. It starts with six. So six is on Monday. Tuesday is one. Wednesday is two, so on and so forth. So some weeks you play that out. So some weeks you're going to be in phys ed 3 days, and some days 2 days. Some weeks 2 days. Well, if you're supposed to be doing a minimum of 150 minutes per week, that's the federal guidelines. It's been that for years, and that's what they said. Listen, what you got to do. And by the way, when you're in there, you got to move. You can't just show up. You got to move. You got to do something. So some weeks you've hit that number. Other weeks, even if you attended class 100% of the time, you're not going to make the numbers. We're teaching generations of kids not to move. If the birds weren't flying, the deer weren't jumping, and the fish weren't swimming, we would think we have a catastrophe on our hands. But we are teaching kids not to move. And you aren't going to all of a sudden have adults say, hey, you know something? I need to start moving when you didn't do it correctly for the first 18 years. So you got to move. You got to move. It's not hard. You don't have to run marathons. You don't have to go CrossFit. I love both of those, but you don't have to. Do something. Do something. That's three. That's number two. Number one is mental rest and focus. Two is motion. Three is rocket fuel. Here's a reality about food. Stop bullshitting yourself about what you eat. I know I've done it myself, but stop bullshitting yourself about what you eat. Here's a crazy thing about America right now is we have Americans, 15 million Americans, who are taking pills not to eat the toxic food which has made them unhealthy. The GLP-1s. If you're on them, great, but understand you have an industry that just makes bad food that they don't sell in other countries. Make it simple. Make it simple. I had to go relearn how to cook, and then I had to learn how to shop for food. I had to learn about a whole bunch of spices. My dear Lord, our diets in America are just not tasty. Around the world, they use so many more spices, and you go like, well, you guys are using what? Man, that's cool stuff. You put on yours and go, oh, this is great. And get away from canned food. Canned food. So that's number three. Number four is great sleep. I love it when people say, I get up at 5 o'clock every morning. What time do you go to bed? In between 9 and 2. It's like, well, I don't care what time you wake up. What time do you go to bed? If you're at my house, I am out by 10. When I'm in bed by 9:30 or 9:15, here we go. Happy days. I'm sleeping, baby. And there's times I tell my wife, I'm going to bed. And you go to bed. I don't I don't anchor myself to the results of a game or a movie or a show, especially these days when you can watch it 1,700 other ways the next morning. If I want to see, I mean, I'm a diehard Yankee and Giants fan, a Knicks fan, but I'll see it next morning. Okay. Great sleep. Isn't it amazing? Isn't it amazing how regimented we are with infants and babies about their sleep? But as adults, we say, "Ah, I'll sleep when I'm dead," not knowing that you are actually trying to see how well that's going to end up for you. Sleep. Oh, sleep. You repair, heal, and adapt so much better when you get great sleep. So I have a company that comes in and cleans my office. When do they clean my office? When I'm here rocking, when I'm active, when my office is awake, or when no one's here and my office is asleep. Of course, when I sleep. Why? Because they do their best work when I'm not here. They do their best work when I'm not here. Your body does its best work to repair, heal, and adapt when you are asleep. Why do you think when you get any kind of illness that you're super tired? Because your body says, I got to go fight this stuff over here. I got to have you stop being a jackhammer and doing stuff. I got to have you sleep so I can get you to heal, repair, and adapt. Pretty genius of your body, isn't it? Yeah. Four, sleep. Five, and this is the one new one for you. This is the one I put in there because I'm a doctor of chiropractic. I've been studying this for over 30 years. My next paper will come out showing links of this, but you got to have your nervous system has got to be optimized. Your nervous system has got to be optimized. How do you get that? First of all, you test it with heart rate variability. That's a test I use, heart rate variability. If you don't know about it, we'll talk about it many times in the future. But heart rate variability. And I think the wearables are good. I don't think they're great. I don't think they tell you the whole story. I think they tell you a yes or no. They don't tell you the why. And that's important. But you get your nervous system optimized. The more I read about heart rate variability, the more I see that if your heart rate variability is optimized, and this is what one of the studies is, I will show it to you. I won't show you today, but I will show it to you. If your heart rate variability is strong, then the stage of cancer doesn't matter. Think about that one for a second. Holy cow. If your heart rate variability is strong, then the stage of cancer doesn't matter because you can beat it. That's what the research shows. That's not just me. Also read that during COVID, if our heart rate variabilities have been stronger, we as a nation would have been better off. But I'll do a whole thing on heart rate variability and the whole COVID, and you'll be like, we were sitting ducks. We were sitting ducks. So there are no biohacks. There are no biohacks for true health and longevity. I know you got people trying to sell you stuff left and right. Well, just do this, this, this. I do some of those things, but you do the fundamentals. You add the supplements on top of that. Those supplements work better. Those other things, those add-ons work better when you have a strong foundation. Do the five things. So, are there real levers for longevity? Absolutely, there are. Absolutely, there are. Have been researched for decades. The last one is the newest one with an optimized nervous system. I'll be having that one come out later on. And the last one is this. I hear this one all the time, all the time. Well, I think that's neat, but I am blank years of age. And I say what? Well, I'm blank years of age. The worst was, and I ask this to new patients often, is how many more years you think you got on planet Earth? And I had one young lady say, well, I'm 22, and ever since I'm 20, my health has gone down. I said, why is that? She goes, well, I'm just not as healthy as I was. And I said, how long do you think you're going to be on the planet Earth? And she goes, right around 60, 62. I said, that's a decade less than what the average, she was a white female. That's a decade less than the average white female. I said, why is that? And here's a stark story for you. And this is very, very common, is that when When kids see the last years of their parents' lives, the kids put a message inside their own brain saying, I ain't going out like that. So instead of going out like that, I'm going to cut the movie short. Wow. Wow, that's stark. Absolutely stark. So read the research, look it up. I'm a super grok guy, super grok it, whatever, chat it up, ask. What are, is can you be too old to start a journey on longevity? And the answer always is no. Of course, you want to start it, 4 minutes before you die. But then again, the strange part about it is you have no idea how many more years you got. Do you? You have no idea how many more years you got. So why not just squeeze the frickin' juice right out of it? Let's go. Let's go. You have no idea how many more years you got. So let's have more fun. Let's have more living, more laughing, more going to great concerts, watching more games, sitting around the table laughing, telling stories that you've already told with your family members 15 times before. You all know the answers, but you all laugh at them because they're great and you love being with them. That's longevity. None of that happens. None of that stuff happens without you being healthier. Are you too old? You're never too old because you have no idea how long you're going to be around. You have none. You have none. So let's squeeze the juice. All the toys you got, the houses you got, all the zeros that you have in your bank account, none of that means anything without you being healthy and healthy for decades. Healthy for decades. None of that means anything without you being healthy for decades. I'll leave you with the last thing. Thinking about my parents when they passed, my parents passed away in 2005. They passed away 5 months apart, 5 months apart, 2005. And you think some of you are going to get big paydays when your parents pass. I mean, I know it's a really odd way of saying it, but you're going to get a chunk of change when your parents pass. Do you know what I wanted from my parents when they passed? I don't, I give a shit about the money, about the things. I want one more good day, one more good day with them. Sitting around having lasagna that my mom had made as we drink Lambrusco from a box. And then afterwards, if it was a birthday, we'd have angel food cake. One more good day doing that. I wanted them to be so healthy we could do that. That's what your kids want. That's what your spouse wants. That's what your family, that's what your friends want. They don't want the shit. They want the laughs. They want the experiences. One more good day. We're going to be talking more about all this stuff. We're going to have guests on here and we're going to get this rocking and have you enjoy this. I hope so. I'm just a kid with a jetpack. If you ever have any questions, always feel free to message me. I'll do my best to get back to you on that. I'm Dr. Otto Janke. Thank you for being with me on the Empire Longevity Podcast.